everyone, welcome to another video in Revit India. I hope you're having a fantastic day or evening. I am Sharma and I welcome you to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 15 books that I was able to read within a week, and I labeled them according to these 4 following categories, which is trash, average, good read and must read. I'll also label them from worst to best and most recommended, from 15 to number 1. So make sure you watch this video till the end to know the most and best recommended books by me. And also, if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and press that bell icon. And with that, let's start today's video. Now the book on number 15 spot is Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. It's a fiction book, it's a story-based book. It's a borderline trash book, guys. Don't waste your time reading this one. Don't pick it up. If you bought it, burn it, throw it. Reading it is a complete trash, waste of time. Talking about it is a waste of time. I'm not going to talk about it. It's just ridiculous. Bad. And let's move on to the next book. Now the book on number 14 spot is 22 Immutable Laws of Branding by Ries. Now, it is a very good book. It is a book that I will highly recommend to people, right? It's super low on my list because I also read another book by the same author in the same week, and that book and this book have very similar ideas, almost same ideas, and that book came earlier and this book is the second version. And you know, it's one of those ideas and one of those experiences when, you know, an author writes a fantastic book and they get stardom and fame. They try to milk that fame by writing another book. So this book, while it's great, it's just the one that came before it is so much better that I would rather you read that book, right, instead of this one. So it's a great book if you want to read about branding, if you want to read about how things work, what are the laws. It's a fantastic book. It's just, there's a better book upcoming, so yeah. Now the book on number 13 spot is the most sold book in all of India, which is Chanakya Neeti. This book is the best seller in the self-help / personal growth category in India, and I do understand why it is such a great book, because Chanakya in Indian history has been regarded as someone that's the smartest individual to come from this Indian peninsula, right? And his book is really amazing. So Chanakya Neeti is one of those books that's really amazing. It's on the metaphysical side and not on the practical side anymore. You have to infer a lot of knowledge from the book and convert it actively to make and come up with practical examples. I will cover Chanakya Neeti in a future series, so if you are interested in this book, you can come back to this channel and I'll talk about all the practical ideas from this book and ignore all the metaphysical stuff. But it is a recommended book. It is a good read. And let's move on to the next book. Now the next book on this list, guys, on the 12th spot is Fascination by Sally Hogshed. Now it's a good book, it's a good read, so I will label it as a good read. However, there's just one idea that I don't like about this book. This book feels like an upsell for a fascination test. Now she talks about an idea and a system that she's created, which is called the fascination system, which is a very good idea to know. Because if you are someone that wants to get into marketing or advertising or branding in general, or if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, knowing all those things and having a distinction in your head can be a very good thing to know as a concept, because when you're trying to create marketing messages or advertising messages, it helps you understanding brand positioning and whatnot. It's just the idea of a fascination test is, well, an upsell, and I don't like books that have an upsell to them. I don't like books that are created with the idea of making the person read a book and then making them take a test to make more money out of it, which is an idea I didn't like about this person and this book. But fascination, the concept and the fascination concept is a very good concept to know if you want to be an entrepreneur or know more about branding. So it's a good book. I recommend this book that you should read it. It's just, I don't like the idea of taking the fascination test, but yeah, it's a good book. Now the book on number 11 spot on this list is Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paolo Freire. This book I would put in the must read category for everyone, because this book talks about the revolutionary idea of how learners are not an empty vessel to be filled, rather they are individuals that need to be engaged with creative thinking and in the creative thinking process, and how systems have been put in place to not promote that and systematically oppressing the learners, right? This is why quality education is, available to select few, and most of the individuals do not have access to that kind of education, right? It's a very good book to read, and I'd put it in the must read category, even though it's like on number 11 in this list. But it's a very good book. I think everyone should read it. Now the book on number 10 spot is 10x by Grant Cardone. I just realized how 10x is on number 10 spot, but yeah, I really like this book. It's by Grant Cardone. It's a book that's about marketing, sales and entrepreneurship in general, and I like reading books like this because Grant Cardone is a really successful individual in sales and real estate and whatnot, and I like books that are written by such authors because they are self-made and they talk about their journey and document the process of this is how I did it, this is how I did it, and it's a very good experience. The core key concept of the book is to 10x everything. 10x your goals, 10x your effort, 10x pretty much everything, and it's a very, very, very inspiring book, and it's also something that pumps you up. For example, when I read this book, I was like, oh, let's go. So it's a very must, I would put it in the must read category. I think everyone should read this book. It's not for everyone, but again, I would recommend this book that it's an inspiring book. So yeah, totally must read. Now the book on number 9 spot is The One Thing by Gary Keller. I really like this book. I will put it in the good read category, and I put it in the good read and not must read category because this book did not have ideas that I don't explicitly know about, right? It's one of those things that happen to you when you become a very frequent reader, and you are a frequent reader for a long time. You start coming across ideas that are very similar, right? So if I had read this book very early on when I started my learning journey and reading journey, I would put this book in the must read category. But if you are an experienced reader, this book is a recommended read for you, that it's going to be a good read. But if you're not someone that has read a lot of books, I will put this in a must read category. It's a very, very profound book in terms of how Gary explains how it's really important for you to focus on one thing and don't focus on everything by saturating your focus and whatnot. So it's a very good book, recommended. Now the next thing on this list, guys, the book on number 8 spot is Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I think this book is actually a gem in personal growth sector and self-improvement sector or self-help sector or whatever, because this book is so easy to consume and easy to read because the entire book has been narrated as if it's a story, right? It's really great because the ideas that it talks about is really profound, that it can actually make a huge difference if you just read this one book, right? And I would put it in a must read category for someone that has not read a lot of books. And if you are an experienced reader, you're still going to benefit a lot from reading this book because this book is so easy to consume. It was like you can literally sit with it in one go and finish it because it's so easy to read. It's really easy to read vocabulary, really simply presented great ideas. I think Robin Sharma has really done well with this book, so it's just an amazing book. Yeah. Now the next book on number 7 spot is Brand Seduction by Daryl Weber. If you are an aspiring entrepreneur or if you are someone that wants to know more about marketing, branding and how things work, and this is a very good book to read. It talks about how I don't want to spoil it for you. I would recommend that you actually buy this book and read it, or find it online and read it. It's a good book. It talks about a lot of things that are going to give you a lot of clues about different things: influence, marketing, branding, how different ideas shape individuals, so on and so forth. It's a good book. Recommended. Now the next book on this list, guys, is on the number 6 spot, Gifted Adult by Elaine, and it is hands down one of my favorite books. I'm not sure if it's a great book or not, but personally I really liked it. I would suggest that it's a must read for everyone. It's not a popular book. It's not a book that has sold 1 million copies. It's somewhat of a difficult book to read as well, but I really enjoyed reading this book because it talks about a lot of things that I was personally struggling with, and it perfectly puts it all together that it is fine. Really nice book. I would not talk about different ideas because a lot of it is very different, and if I talk about those ideas I'll come off as conceited, which I am, but yeah, it's a recommended book for everyone. I think it's going to be a little difficult to find because you'll have to buy the e-book version if you really want to read this, because it's not in Amazon India available for paperback. But yeah, it's a recommended book. Really recommended book. Now before we move on to the top 5, I hope you're liking this video so far, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and press that bell icon to get notified about our future uploads. And let's go to the number 5 book. Now the book on number 5 spot on this list, guys, is 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing by Ries. There was also another author, I forgot his name, but Ries. Now this is one of the best marketing books to read ever. It is a really great book. It talks about 22 rules and laws in marketing that always work. It's a little out of context from today's time because the world has changed significantly since the book came out. This book I think came out in nearly 2000, so it's like 20 years old, and it's a little out of touch with today's concept, but I will call this book a must read because you need to truly understand how marketing works. You need to also understand how things and times have changed from previous times, right? So this is a great book to explain all of that because it illustrates how times have changed and how marketing has evolved. And once you understand how marketing worked 20 years ago, it's really easy to decide and devise a marketing strategy for this time. So now the book on number 4 spot is one of my favorite books again, and it's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now this book came out in 1936. This was also one of the first books that I started my journey of reading with. I read this book before reading this book this week, and it was about 3.5 years ago, and it's one of those books that really inspired me and changed my life. There's a reason why everyone that is successful, almost everyone that reads a book has probably read this book, because this is a classic and I recommend that everyone should read this book. Everyone must read this book. So yeah, definitely read this book, and it's like it's available in market for super cheap as well. It's like $150 I think. So yeah, super awesome. Now the number 3 book on this list, guys, is Millionaire, Fastlane by MJ Demarco. It is hands down one of my favorite books ever. It is also hands down one of my most recommended books to individuals that aspire to be an entrepreneur. The core idea of the book is get rich quick. How get rich quick is easy? No. Getting rich quick is not easy. It's very difficult, but it is possible. It happens all the time. The author got rich quick and also talked about his journey, and this is one of those books that I really like because authors that did it, people that did it themselves and talk about the process is my favorite kind of books to read, because you can draw a lot of inspiration and a lot of practical examples of how other people do it, so you can also replicate that model. And this is one of those books that talk about those models, and it is my recommended book. Like, if there's 3 books in this list that I encourage you to buy and read, this book is the number 3. So please read this one. Now the number 2 book on this list, guys, is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. This is also one of my all-time favorite books. I think this is one book that everyone should read irrespective of what they want to do in their life, because see, negotiating is one of those things that happen all the time in every field, right? It's just like sales, like convincing people of things. Negotiating is getting your way with people, right? How to negotiate a salary, how to negotiate contracts, how to, like convince other people and put yourself in a position where you have an advantage over other individuals in a negotiation. And this is not one of those, like red pill crap books that, like talk about manipulating people or any of those things. No, this talks about practical examples, practical way of negotiation that can, like make both parties have a great opportunity and, like make them best and whatever. But yeah, this is hands down most recommended, top favorite books that helped me a lot. So yeah, make sure you read this one as well, just like the Millionaire Fastlane. If there are 3 books on this list that I want you to read, this is the number 2. And let's move on to the number 1. Now, the number 1 book on this list, guys, is Unscripted by MJ Demarco. Now, this guy is crazy. He's smart. He's summed up the entire idea with this book. So there are very few authors in this world that can consistently churn up books that are just amazing. Millionaire Fastlane was an idea that was awesome. Like Millionaire Fastlane, the number 3 book and the number 1 book are by the same author, and both these books are amazing, and I would really encourage you to read Unscripted and Millionaire Fastlane. It's just, I'm out of words when it comes to explaining those ideas. See, I could explain the idea of both books to you guys in, like short videos, but I recommend you guys read everything in those words like it's something that your life depends on, because understanding those core concepts is radically going to change the way you view the world, right? Radically going to change the way you view the world. You will be able to see a lot of things, right? So read these 3 books. My top 3, I think you should definitely read. But yeah, number 1 book again is Unscripted by MJ Demarco. This guy he spent 0 money on advertising, and all his sales of both his books are through word of mouth, through people like me who read it on someone's recommendations, and then once I read it, I recommend everyone to read it because it's that good a book. Super awesome, mega recommended book. Definitely read. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked today's video, and make sure you press that subscribe button and hit that bell icon if you are not already subscribed, because I'll keep bringing you guys the content that you need to make sure you are living the best life and you are upgrading your skill set with every video and whatnot. So yeah, like, share and comment in the comment section of the book that you're most interested in reading, or if you have read any of these books that I've talked about, share your opinions as well so that other readers can benefit and other people that haven't read can benefit from your thoughts and your opinions as well. And this is Chanakya Sharma, and I will see you in the next video of Rebel India. So until next time, guys, see ya.